What is Agent Tug Beeps? Welcome to the NSTL Season 1, Week 2. I am coach of the Pittsburgh Pirattatas. My name is Oldmantup, and today we are playing Mr. Helmy, coach of the Wisconsin Weezing. Wisconsin won their first match, and now they are coming to play us, and we lost our first match, so sadness. That's no good. So looking to bounce back, grab a win in Week 2. Let's take a look at the team that we had to build against. He has Megalatios, which we thought was Megalatios during team prep. I don't know why, I must have just misread it. He has Infernate, which is first Z-move user, Tyranitar, Tentacruel, Ferrothorn, Sylveon, Rotom Frost, Yanmega, his second Z-move user, Rhydon, Ditto, and Tauros. Interesting speed tiers on his team. He has quite the variety. Luckily for us, Tornadus Therian outspeeds everything naturally on his team except for, Imposter Ditto, which speed ties everything. So, yeah. The team we are going to be bringing, and this is inspired by Subway, this team. We are bringing Zygarde, Snick, Leftovers, Substitute Dragon Dance, Thousand Arrows Outrage, Max Speed, Jolly, Max Attack. Next is Good Boy, Arcanine, Leftovers, Intimidate. Bringing that Intimidate ability. Don't really see a huge usefulness for the Flash Fire, as Infernate is his fire type user, and our team really doesn't suffer from fire type attacks. So I don't think we're going to be seeing, like huge Flare Blitz or Fire Blast we got to be worried about coming this way. The point of this set is to switch in with Intimidate, make him think we're a bulky variant, and then just boom something in the face with Crunch, Close Combat, Flare Blitz, and Morning Sun in our back pocket in order to heal off Flare Blitz damage. But we are Jolly, Max Speed, Max Attack. Next is Poseidon, our Empoleon, Leftovers, Tauren ability, Sub-Sword Stance, Aqua Jet, and Earthquake. Max HP, Adamant Max Attack. This is something that I've been wanting to use a long time that I never really got to pull out in the NPA, is the Sub-Sword Stance set. Because I like it, everyone expects a really bulky thing, and then they get set up in their face. Hard stop to this that he has on his team is Megalatios. It just comes in and ruins my day unless I have it whittled down adequately before trying to set up. Next we have Reaper, Mismagus, Leftovers, Levitate, Shadow Ball, Hidden Power Fighting, Calm Mind, and Substitute. Again, this is a relatively speedy thing, only getting beaten by a few things on his team speed-wise. Come in, max HP, max speed, a little bit of special attack thrown in there to be able to outpace things. Come in, Calm Mind, Substitute, and win. The combination of Shadow Ball and Hidden Power Fighting really does a number across his team. Next, we're going to be bringing out Mesprit, our Bish Please, Leftovers, Levitate, Stealth Rock, Thunderwave, U-Turn Knockoff, Max HP, Max Defense, Impish Nature. Very similar set to last week. And last but not least, we have Sports Bra, the Tornadus Therian, bringing the Flyinium Z with Regenerator, Hurricane, Focus Blast, Heat Wave, and U-Turn. Enough speed to outspeed Megalatios, which is the fastest thing on his team. And max special attack. And the rest thrown in HP. But let's jump into this matchup. We are going to lead with our Mesprit. Anything on his team that he's going to want to counter lead with Mesprit, we can take pretty much one hit from everything across the board. If he leads with Infernate, we're just going to assume it's Crazy Lead Infernate. He could lead with anything else. Rotom Frost, if it's Scarfed, could very easily be a lead. So that's what we're going to go with. And he does lead with Rotom Frost, fully expecting a Volt Switch, a Blizzard, a Thunderbolt, or a Trick at this point. I really kind of thought Trick was going to be pulled out early to lock us into Stealth Rocks. I almost went for the knockoff, predicting that, but I'm just going to set up my rocks here, because if he goes for the safe Volt Switch out, we will have our rocks up and it'll be taking 25% damage every time it comes in after that. He's just going to go for the Blizzard turn 1, probably trying to gauge how much damage he could do to us. It was probably a fair bet that we wouldn't be trying to switch in Empoleon that turn. So that is our only real super good Blizzard switch in. I mean, Infernape. Arcanine can come in and take one, but doesn't really want to. So, yeah. The fact that it outsped us tells us nothing. But, like I said, he does just go for the Blizzard. Does less than 50%, so we know we can stay in and take another one. We do set up the rocks. The fact that he hard switches out here pretty much confirms in my mind the fact that he is Scarfed or Specs. Based off the damage, I'm leaning more towards the Scarf, unless he's some weird bulky variant. And we're just going to drop a knockoff here, and that does, with the rocks, 50%. Excuse me, so that's awesome. At this range, unless he has a huge Draco Meteor, we can probably survive one of anything. And we are going to stay in. He is just going to roost. And we go for the Thunder Wave, and for the second week in a row, a great played Thunder Wave is going to miss the first time we try and use it. Because why not? Why not? Anyways, he's going to Dragon Pulse. Again, that isn't enough to take us down. We are going to be able to stay in and hit him with a second T-Wave. We're going to go for the knockoff here. I guess we get a little bit of payback for the miss on the Thunder Wave, as we do get to hit him with a crit knockoff. So, I guess that kind of balances, maybe? I don't know. Regardless, we bring out Sneck here. And I kind of thought he would switch something out here, because, I mean, we go for Outrage, and he dies. If he brings in Sylveon, or switches Sylveon into that Outrage, we can switch out because Outrage will be immune, and that releases us from it. Or he could have gone into Ferrothorn and taken an Outrage. We just go for the safe 1,000 Arrows here, because I really thought he would just be switching out. But he stays in, survives the 1,000 Arrows, and just kills us with an Ice Beam. And I was just like, instead of trying to sub in this thing's face, predicting switches or anything like that, well, I didn't want to go for a sub because I thought he would switch into Sylveon, and then I would have nothing to do, because he could just Hyper Voice through my sub, and it wouldn't matter anyways. So I figured that was pretty much a safe bet that that's what he would be doing. As Zygarde isn't my Z-Crystal user, I didn't think he would be as scared of an Iron Tail or Iron Head or whichever steel move he gets. But he just straight up Ice Beams us, and we lose Zygarde right away. And I started to panic a little bit at this point, because granted, we have the biggest threat on our team, on his team to our team, whittled down to pretty much nothing. We've lost two big components of our team. But we're just going to bring out Arcanine here, because we can Crunch and or Flare Blitz. And what do we do turn one? Do we just go straight up for the Crunch? We do. It is resisted, so Sylveon can come in. We're going to go for the Flare Blitz to see what it does, and that does just below 50%. He does reveal the Wish Protect. In my opinion, odds are he's Hyper Voice, Heal Bell, or another filler offensive move, possibly Toxic. He does show here that he is the heal bell, and we're flare blitzing, and we're doing just shy of 50% every time. So he does have to continue to wish up in order to keep himself at a relatively decent health range. We do have the leftovers, so we are slowly healing off the recoil damage between his wishes, which is really nice because it's keeping us at a relative health. He does just keep wish protecting, and I'm just going to keep dropping flare blitzes because it hits everything he wants to bring in hard. He doesn't know we have close combat in our back pocket, which he could be worried about also being Earthquake for Tentacruel. But we're getting to the range that we figure he's either just going to have to wish or switch out. And the last turn he used Hyper Voice, so I thought there was another potential Protect coming here, simply because of the fact it would give him another turn of leftovers. It would burn one more of our Flare Blitz, and this turn he opts to switch out. I was predicting the possible Protect or just a Wish in general. Really thought the Protect because he was bouncing back and forth between that on his off-wish turns before. And I just take this turn to Morning Sun up. The fact he didn't bring his I want to say Terrakion. I know that's not it. Tyranitar makes it very good for our boy here to be able to just heal himself up as he pleases. Now we're going to switch out into Empoleon here. Really figured, all we figured was the fact this was going to be the Rapid Spin, and that is exactly what happens. It's a critical hit, so instead of doing 1%, it does 2%, which, I'm sure is going to hurt us in the long run. So remember that crit. But yeah, now that we have this thing in, I highly doubt this has anything that's really going to do much to our Empoleon, and I fully anticipate him to switch out to something else. So this is where we start to spring the plot of our masterful Empoleon. We're going to get leftovers, so we're back to 100% no matter what. Going to set up the sub. He switches out his Ferrothorn. I'm not worried about this. I don't think Ferrothorn is going to have anything that can one-shot us. Most standard-ish Ferrothorn sets, unless he is the most courageous man and is running the Curse set, which I'm absolutely in love with, I don't think we're going to have to worry about this. He could set up rocks. He can't set up Leech Seed on us. Gyro Ball isn't going to do anything, and Power Whip isn't going to do a lot. So those are the most likely options he has on this thing. I doubt he's carrying the Earthquake if Ferrothorn gets it. I haven't used it in a long time. I don't remember exactly. But I'm just going to start setting up Swords Dance. He is going to set up the Stealth Rocks here. I don't know what he thought we were going to do. He's just going to set up, switch out into Rotom Frost here. At this point, I'm really expecting either the Thunderbolt or the Volt Switch. If he's Scarfed, it's most likely, in my opinion, that he's just going to be Volt Switching out, which I'm perfectly fine with. He doesn't really want to Volt Switch a lot into this to take one hit as long as I have a sub up. So regardless of what he's going to do, I am just going to sub this turn to see whether or not it is a Volt Switch or a Thunderbolt. We do see the Volt Switch here, and we did make the right play to just go ahead and substitute, which is amazing. So we still have a sub sitting in front of us, and at this range, a plus, what are we at? +4 Aqua Jet will be more than enough to take this out. Even with it being resisted, it will go down. We see another Volt Switch come out here, and we are just going to substitute again. Now, we're pretty much back at whatever range we want to be after he continues 2 switches, leftovers-wise. We miscounted our Swords Dances there. I could lie and say that I was trying to PP stall his Gyro Balls out. or that I was hoping he would finally break my substitute so I could have a fresh one going forward, but I am just going to cop to it. I even went back and read through the text and miscounted my sword stances. So, my bad. I wasn't trying to be a jerk or anything like that, so I apologize. That's my bad. But Gyro Ball still fails to do anything to our sub. We're going to hit him with an Earthquake. That does a ton of damage. And his Gyro Balls still are not breaking our substitute, which is just amazing. He is going to switch out here into Rotom, and he's going to fair swap back and forth. Again, I just go for the substitute. It doesn't terribly matter to me one way or the other what he chooses to go to. So I just Aqua Jet this turn. In the event he were to switch back out, we do get a crit that turn, but I believe he would have still been in range for a second Aqua Jet. He doesn't die this turn, so it's not like I'm going to lose a turn of Barb's damage or anything. We do set up the sub on the switch here. We go for the Aqua Jet, which almost kills this thing, and I was just like, oh. So we lose our sub, but we do see this thing go all the way down. I just want to make sure that Aqua Jet wasn't a crit. Okay, it wasn't. We do Aqua Jet the second time, which is enough to take it out. Now, he brings it in for an 8, which makes me think, is he Iron Fist Mach Punch? Is he possibly Life Orb Banded? Life Orb or Banded? Is he Focus Sash? Because if he's Focus Sash, that would rain on the Parade. He would get a close combat off. I mean, granted, I'd have to switch out into something else, but it would ruin the sweep. So he doesn't go for the Mach Punch, and he isn't Focus Sash, and he does, or Vacuum Wave. Both at his disposal. Yeah, wow, can't even talk. And we get a lovely one-shot with the Aqua Jet off on this thing. And we're almost all the way back to full health. Tentacruel is going to come out here. It's going to drop the Ice Beam. We're just going to Earthquake. That's going to one-shot it cleanly. Sylveon's going to come out here. Going to go for the Protect to get as much health as possible. But if Hyper Voice is all it has to attack, it's not going to be doing anything to us. We outspeeded naturally, which was awesome. And that is just going to straight take down the Sylveon. Ferrothorn is going to come back out here and is going to go down to the Earthquake, which is going to allow Poseidon, God of the Sea and of Pokemon, to complete a clean a clean sweep, my apologies, a clean sweep of his team, knocking out every single Mon. Unfortunately, 2 of our Mons fell before that, so the score was only a 4-0, but Empoleon busting out the brooms and sweeping up the Wisconsin Weezing. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. After having Empoleon in the MPA, it has fastly become one of my favorite Mons in the format, and you'll probably see me use it a lot in the future. You'll definitely see me use it in the NSTL, because I have it. But anyways, guys, this has been Oldmantup. Go check out Helmy. His link will be in the description. And I will catch you guys next week. Peace.